In the following tutorial we will cover AI and enemy placement. We will cover more advanced AI behaviors and how to set them up. To begin with, you have quest elements in a model browser and you have already predefined behaviors for different enemies they're already set for you. Putting these in your map will give you a good idea on how to set your own custom behaviors by studying what's already been done before. So by placing some of these in, you're able to go inside the properties and start looking at what has been set, but what we will do is we'll create AI path behaviors from scratch. So by going into your model browser, going under all and under mask type in man, selecting the man mesh and placing it in your map, this will be your AI. By going to the object properties, here you can set under skins how he will look. Under name, you can define this by any name you want, something recognizable that you can easily find. Class, new AI human, code 2 is the class for AI. And under fields, this is all the properties that you would set for your AI. Some of the important properties you want to pay attention to is under AI, down here you have the conflict side. Counter player, neutral, pro player, all of these can be set to how the AI will act. Neutral will be when the player just does not engage in combat with you. He's just a civilian. Counter player is the enemy type. He will engage in combat with you. And pro player, he will engage in combat with you and other team players. Scrolling down under senses, and the important one here is default alarm level. You can set it to alarmed, calm, upset. Now AI placed into your map by itself will not do anything. It's because you need to set behaviors, and the way you set behaviors for your AI is by placing waypoints. So select your AI, go under all, and where it says type, go under model and select waypoint. With your AI selected, by placing the waypoint into your map, it will automatically link to your model AI. So if I double click waypoint on the AI waypoint, you can see that the waypoint has been connected. Also, if it doesn't connect, this will be blank and you can just select it and choose the waypoint. Now go into your waypoint properties by double clicking on the waypoint, or if you have your AI selected, by right clicking on the waypoint inside the object properties of your AI and select object. So the way this works is like this. First you define a motion type. Motion type controls how the AI will get to the waypoint. So let's set our motion type to motion move. Then we will set the speed of how you want your player, your AI, to approach this waypoint. So we're going to choose run. Then I'm going to check on can shoot. Then you can also set jump over type. Then you can check on avoid obstacles. Is once you define your motion type, you need to define the behavior. So by double clicking on the empty slot, you enter a behavior. Behavior controls what the player will do once he reaches the waypoint. What is his behavior going to be? So define what the behavior will be. You can set different kind of behaviors by scrolling through here. So I will choose the behavior look at, and I want the AI to reach this point and behave as look at the player. So next you need to set the target. Where is the player the AI will look at? And you can set this to the player, or you can set this to any object inside the ChromEditor. I am going to set this as to player. Then I want to check look can turn, and I want to check force turn to destination. Another thing under behavior, you have conditions and end condition. Condition is defined by a condition that AI has to meet in order to achieve and enter this behavior. End condition has to be entered. This defines what type of conditions have to happen in order for behavior to end. All conditions have to be resolved, so you have to set end condition. This is very important. Few things that you can set here as condition. You can set condition to false, which means that he will never stop. That means he will look at the player and he will not stop looking at the player until he's killed. You can set this to OR, which means you set an OR condition. You can set multiple conditions, and if any of those have been met, then the behavior has been terminated. You can also set condition to AND, which means you can define multiple conditions. All of them have to be met. Another commonly used one is time passed. This will define in how many seconds will this condition be terminated, so the behavior will end. So I'm going to define this into 5 seconds. And then you specify the action that you want the AI player to do once he runs through a behavior, gets to this waypoint, and what is he going to do. You don't have to set this. If you don't set this, once the behavior is over, the player, the AI, will continue on to the next waypoint if you have it, or he'll just stand. So now let's just jump quickly in game and see how he behaves and runs to our waypoint. So now in game, he runs to the waypoint and he stops and he looks at us. Here I created a very simple setting. I have multiple waypoints, and all I did is I took the first one, selected it, and I shift and left mouse button dragged and I copied. It automatically connects to the next waypoint from the previous one. And I inserted the crate to show you how multiple waypoints behave and what the AI player will do jumping over this crate. The first one is I have motion type set to move. I set the behavior to shoot at. Means I want the player to shoot as he comes up to this waypoint. The AI, not the player, but the AI, and I want him to come up, I want him to shoot, and I set the target to the player, and then my condition was time passed, and I want this to happen for about 3 seconds. So once this condition runs out and the behavior ends, I want the AI to continue on, jump over this crate, and continue on to this waypoint. So what I did was, in this waypoint, I set jump over set to true, and I set to jump over type, I set this to random. That's all I did. I did not set any behaviors or actions because I just want him to pass through this waypoint, and I want him to stop at the last waypoint, and I just want him to stop. So the behavior is look at and target player and condition time passed and 5 seconds, and that's where it ends. So let's see what happens. So he runs, he shoots at us, then he continues, he jumps over, and then he stops and looks at us. So now at the last waypoint, let's set up a second behavior. So our first behavior for this waypoint is look at, and we have it resolved by setting time passed. And then let's set up a second behavior to this waypoint. So by double clicking where it says one item behavior, you can set a second behavior, and by scrolling down, and here let's set a second one, and let's set this to editor attack, meaning that now when the AI reaches this point, he will attack us, and this requires to create a fight node. Also, you have to set an end condition as well. So first let's create a fight node. So by going to your model browser, all, type, where it says model, select fight node. Place it into your map. Next, go into your waypoint, scroll back down to the editor attack behavior, select first fight node, and you can either browse for it, or you can right click on the fight node and set it. Now you must set an end condition to it. What I'm going to set is condition set to false, meaning that our AI will not stop fighting us until he's dead. So by selecting your fight node and going to its properties, you have a set of options that you can set for your fight node. First, you have hideouts. You can define a specific model that the AI will be able to hide behind. So select this, and let's say I want this crate to act as a hideout. Right click and add crate. Now we have a crate added as an object that the AI will hide behind. Add a fight worthiness, meaning that AI will pick this specific fight node over every other one if it's set to excellent, if it's set to good. So if I have multiple fight nodes, I can set specific worthiness, specific priority that the AI will go to those specific fight nodes over any other ones. Set lean, force lean. You can set jump over, avoid obstacles, climb down, climb up. And if I want to add more fight node within the specific fight node, all I need to do is just select it, shift, drag, and duplicate. Back to the first one. Here where it says neighbor and fight nodes, we have the specific node selected, and now I can define fight worthiness for that specific node to, let's say, low. Actually, I want this one high, and this one I can set it to low. So I can have multiple ones throughout my map, and I will let the AI choose which one he wants to go to. So now let's jump inside the game and see how it works out. So now we have our AI. He shoots at us. He should be there for about 3 seconds. Then he continues on to run, jumps over, and now he will use that box to hide behind.